The Jurors' Hidden Power. It's June 20th, 2026. Welcome to yes2hellwith.com. As America approaches the 250th anniversary of the Republic, it is worth asking a question that very few citizens have ever considered. What is the true role of the juror? Most Americans believe a juror's duty is simple: listen to the evidence, follow the judge's instructions, apply the law as given, render a verdict. But the history of the American jury is far more profound. The founders did not view the jury as merely a fact-finding body. They viewed it as a barrier between the citizen and the state. In fact, some of the most important legal authorities in American history recognized that jurors possess the power to judge both the facts and the law. Consider the famous case of Georgia versus Brailsford. Chief Justice John Jay instructed the jury, quote, "You have nevertheless a right to take upon yourselves to judge of both and to determine the law as well as the fact in the controversy," end quote. Now think about that. The first Chief Justice of the United States told jurors they possess the right to judge both the law and the facts. Now, why is that? Because the jury was intended to be independent, not a rubber stamp, not an administrative formality, not an extension of government, an independent body drawn from the people themselves. This principle appeared repeatedly throughout American history. In Sparf versus United States, the Supreme Court acknowledged that juries possess the physical power to return a verdict according to their own judgment, even though the court encouraged jurors to respect judicial instructions. The distinction is important. The judge may explain the law, the prosecutor may argue the law, the defense may argue the law, but no judge can enter a guilty verdict in a jury trial. Only the jury can do that. That is power, enormous power. The jury may reject the government's evidence. The jury may reject a witness, may reject a narrative. And historically, juries have sometimes refused to enforce laws they believed were unjust, improperly applied, or inconsistent with fundamental principles of liberty. The founders understood something that modern America often forgets. Government naturally seeks expansion. Power naturally seeks growth. The jury was designed as one of the mechanisms capable of resisting that tendency. The prosecutor represents government. The judge is a government official. The officer is a government official. The agency is government. The jury is the people. The jury, therefore, serves as the final checkpoint before government may take a person's liberty, property, or historically even life. That responsibility should never be taken lightly. A juror should listen carefully, examine the evidence, evaluate credibility, consider the law, and reach an honest conclusion. But jurors should also understand the office they hold. For a brief moment, they occupy one of the most powerful positions in the Republic, not because government grants them power, but because the Constitution places trust in the people themselves. As America celebrates 250 years of the Republic, perhaps it's time to remember that liberty was never intended to depend entirely upon judges, politicians, prosecutors, or agencies. It was intended to depend upon citizens willing to exercise judgment. And nowhere is that responsibility more visible than in the jury box. The juror is not merely a listener. The juror is not merely an observer. The juror is the final guardian standing between the citizen and the full power of the state. And as always, may truth reign supreme.